So what's happened now? It seems to me with these prop bets, Lubie, is that it's kind of like fantasy football has just turned into total degeneracy football. And, they're asking you, I mean, think about this. Why would I be aware that there was a proposition bet out there, the over-under number of touchdown passes for Mac fucking Jones? Who cares how many touchdown passes he throws? He's going to play for the Patriots this year. You're thinking the Patriots are burial city. Are they not? Maybe Belichick finally calls it quits. He snaps during the course of the season. He realizes, what am I doing? I got Matt Patricia calling plays? Hey, Matt, throw the ball.
Exactly.
Logic, I mean, has no business in sport. That's why these businessmen all fail. We would be successful as sports team owners, but we don't have the money to own a team. Almost every fan can fall into the same category.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
That is a bit of a unique problem, isn't it? We would be successful as team owners, Mike Lubie Lubitz, but we don't have the money to own a team. It takes quite a bit of cash now to buy a team. I don't even know. The Walmart people barely were able to afford the Denver Broncos at $4.5 billion. Unbelievable. Think of all the stuff they've sold at Walmart over the years. Hey, good morning, everybody, on a fine Wednesday. Good to be with you. The Defo Show here on South Florida Live. Jeff DeForest and one Mike Lubie Lubitz, a very festive Mike Lubie Lubitz, who spent the afternoon yesterday with the Gambling Gourmet at one of our favorite stops on the tour, and that was part of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, which you can catch at noon right here on South Florida Live. I'm getting a lot of questions, Libby, about what happened to the radio show. I was at, you'll find this kind of interesting, but there was the annual Deadpool celebration party last night at a local bar. I don't know that they want to be associated with the fact that this is a place where the Deadpool is run out of, but the bar really doesn't have anything to do with it, except they're more than willing to have the people come out there once a month for the draw and or the payoff. And in this case, they throw a party every year, which was great. And the Mustang had a chance to pull one of the numbers out for the raffle for the prizes at the end. The last prize, Mustang, they bring the bucket over to the Mustang, and whose number does she pull out? Our number. So maybe that's a sign that things are going to go well in New Orleans when we head over there for the weekend to celebrate the Mustang's birthday. But, yeah, Deadpool dinner yesterday. And, it was kind of fun, kind of interesting, although you would consider it sort of a macabre occasion. No, there were no tombstones or anything like that decorating the room. It wasn't like a Halloween party, Louis. But, no, very, very nice time had by all. It was good stuff. But anyway, a lot of stuff happening on the sports platform and around the world as well. I guess it doesn't pay to be like a Republican and actually follows a line of logic. Liz Cheney, Kaputsky. You can imagine. It's still overwhelming to me, the power that the Trumpster wields. I mean, is it just a symbolic thing? Well, what is it? Does he represent like anything that is anti-progress and or logic, rationale, humanitarian type of efforts? And so anybody that lines up against it, I mean, I don't know. What are they thinking in Wyoming? And here's a one woman that had a little bit of a spine and, was willing to go out and say, hey, you know what? My commitment is to doing the right thing. This guy ain't doing it. And the next thing you know, she loses out to some flaming Trump sycophant that was screaming, yeah, we need Donnie back.
Oh, she was a crazy person. That lady's a nut.
Lunatic, right?
That lady's a nut.
Holy shit. What the hell is going on out there? So it's a little bit frightening. I mean, I don't know. Can the indictment come before he ends up being president again? That's... I don't know, man. Where do we go? Costa Rica's out, right? After the professor's trip there, I don't think he kind of tainted my view of Costa Rica. And anyway, that's not a non-extraditable country, is it? That's kind of where I probably would need to go. All right, so many things happening. This reminded me a little bit, and I'm watching it right now, a replay of it. And I don't know why. I mean, I found myself, I'm at the Deadpool party, and I requested the remote because I wanted to see the Serena Williams Emma Raducanu match that was taking place in the Cincinnati Western and something Open. It's named for some bank, but it's in Cincinnati. A prelude to the U.S. Open, which is going to take place, starts a week from Friday, I think you said, Louie?
29th. Starts the 29th.
29th, okay, so it's like a couple of weeks away. All right. All right, so and that's obviously the fourth slam. There'll be a lot of interest in that. The women's side and the men's, I think, both extremely wide open as far as who the eventual winner is going to be. Women's tennis, they've been just flipping positions all year long, and a lot of young talent has come to the rise. But the one thing that we know is that Serena doesn't have it anymore. I do remember. And this was very beneficial to me. The favorable publicity that came out right before Muhammad Ali, who had already shown that he didn't have it anymore, decided to get in the ring and fight Larry Holmes. I can still hear the fight doctor, Freddie Pacheco, screaming, "Don't do it, Muhammad! Don't do it, Muhammad!" I mean, he was absolutely appalled at Muhammad Ali. And I think he walked out of being in his corner for that fight. He just was so appalled that Ali was going to get in there. With Larry Holmes, it was still very sharp at the time. This wasn't the geezers at Caesars. This was, one of those deals where Holmes was sort of, in his prime, but maybe a little past, but still razor sharp. And Ali was finished, a complete shot fighter. I mean, just had no business getting in the ring. So this was great, Lubie. Right before the fight, a picture comes out of Muhammad Ali, who had been known to be out of shape. I mean, if you saw some of the every now and then you'll see a documentary and they'll show Ali training for some of his latter fights. And he's not even trying, right? He's in there like feigning a jab with a little kid and cracking jokes. And, and look, I'm the biggest Muhammad Ali fan, or was at the time, and still remain. I mean, just absolutely amazed by the career, the skills, and the impact that Muhammad Ali had as an athlete. Not that he was perfect, right? I mean, it's not like we're saying Joe Biden is perfect. But, and he had his flaws. I mean, the way he treated Joe Frazier was just absolutely cruel, which seemed out of character. He occasionally, as gracious as he was about certain things and humble as he was about certain things, every now and then you would see like a little bit of an evil side, right? Maybe it takes that to be a boxer. I don't know, Libby. What do you think? Do you have to have some kind of inner thing in you that just wants to destroy people?
Yes,
I don't know. I mean, you've talked to boxers. A lot of them just view it as a sport, right?
Yes.
And that's it. They don't have any animosity. It's just the guy that's in there against them is their opponent, and their job is to win. And, winning entails beating the living snot out of a guy. So that's what they do. I'm not sure, what it is, the psychiatric and psychological trigger that gets these guys motivated to go out there and just start winging punches in a guy's face when he's hurt. But anyway, a picture comes out of Ali, and he had been taking some kind of thyroid medication, and all of a sudden he's in the paper and he looks ripped at like 230 pounds. And everybody thought, oh, wow, look at this. Ali's finally serious. He's going to get in there and he's going to beat Larry Holmes. And Larry Holmes went off, I believe, in that fight. We might have to track this for historical, certainty. But I believe he went off as a 6-5 favorite to beat Larry Holmes. This in a fight where he had no chance. I mean, there was zero chance. Angelo Dundee didn't want to go to Las Vegas with the guy. But, out of loyalty, he went and worked his corner. And after each round, or even before each round, everybody was screaming, "Stop it, ref, stop it."
Oh, jeez, was that bad?
It was horrible. Yeah, no, I mean, it was Holmes was begging the referee to stop the fight. I mean, he's got Ali in the corner. He's throwing a few punches, and he steps back and goes, "Please, come on, spare this guy. Just beat him."
Oh, my
All right,
God.
so it was just so completely lopsided that it was a very generous 6-5. I think that we collected on Larry Holmes. I put as much money as I could on Holmes in that fight because I wasn't buying the phony rhetoric that somehow Ali was back. How is he going to overcome like his previous few fights where he looked awful and they were getting more and more spaced apart? I mean, he just wasn't the same guy. And I bring this up for a reason because, wow, that's how Serena looks. She looked like Ali in the Larry Holmes fight last night. Gets out there for round one of the Cincinnati tournament and is facing a seeded player because she doesn't have a ranking at this point. She's won one match, I believe, in the last year and change. She had that one win when she got by the first round at a tournament a couple of weeks ago. Immediately got knocked out in the second round by Bencic, who got bounced out in the first round of this tournament. So it's not like she was in there against, killers or anything. And can we say killers, or are we going to get in trouble with the New York Times on that? All of a sudden, we'll be in that same space as this poor guy Adler, who never worked another tennis match again. What the hell is going on in the world out there? It's just amazing, right? Guy uses one phrase that everybody knows what he meant, except the people that decided to be offended by it. It's crazy. Right? Cost him his career. Unbelievable. But wow, a shot fighter gets bageled and smeared there in the second set. A bagel. When would you ever see Serena Williams bageled in the first round? And if you are Serena Williams and you're getting bageled in the first round, now she's more entitled. She's more than entitled to the salutation she's going to receive at the U.S. Open, and I hope the crowd goes nuts and applauds the greatness of her career accomplishments.
That's what it is, right? Like
they're monumental.
She wants to, the Lugay. She wants to like tip her cap. Like, is that what? Like, I don't understand why she's still playing at this point, outside of the fact that she wants everyone to give her the standing O. For a great career, because
I don't know.
Is like, if you lose, how big of a tour could it be if you're losing in the first round in straight sets?
Routinely. I mean, to that, I keep forgetting the girl's name, Han Lick or whatever her name was.
Tan.
Yeah.
Harmony Tan. I'll never forget.
Harmony Tan. Yeah, Han Lick.
Harmony Tan.
I just made up a name. Yeah, I mean, losing to that girl who was a slicer dicer. I mean, she should have been on a Ron Popeil Vegemanic commercial. This girl, man. I mean, everything was a cutter. It was just, it was embarrassing for a pro to play like that. Although she did win a couple of rounds after that, but it hasn't been heard from since. Raducanu won the U.S. Open last year at like the age of 16 or 17. Okay. She's right up there. I mean, with Coco Gauff and this Leylah Fernandez, who was in the finals of the U.S. Open last year. Remember the two teenagers made it to the finals of the U.S. Open? That was great. And they were both good stories. What a polished kid, too, this Raducanu is. Saw the interview with her after the match. I mean, I'm thinking this girl can't be, I don't even know if she's 18 yet. It'll be Emma Raducanu, Great Britain. And wow, what a great polished, and distinguished character she had for a girl so young that's had this kind of success. And she said all the right things. I don't know that Serena would have been the same. Serena kind of walked out of there, looked like she was pissed because it was embarrassing. She had one brief moment where she looked like Serena, like she was down 4-1. It looked like she was going to get blown off the face of the planet, maybe win 3 games in the entire. She only won 4 games in the 2 sets anyway, but she came back, she broke Raducanu, and then you thought, well, maybe. And she showed signs of life in the next game, but then went on and lost a set in sort of routine fashion. And then Bagel Ruski in the second set. Serena Williams bagel in the first round of the tournament. That's headline material. I don't even care if she's coming back for Alzheimer's Day. You're not going to see Serena get bageled. Very embarrassing, Lubie, the performance. And she walked out of there kind of, place was packed. It was interesting because they had her, of course, at center court, which I think is deserved. I'm not opposed to the showcasing of Serena Williams. It's just, and I guess it's good that we know that there's some finality to it because we don't want to see Willie Mays taking that swinging bunt there or see Serena fall down in some embarrassing fashion and get hurt in a match. Just isn't necessary. But anybody that had money on this, and I never did see the odds, but you could have bet every dime in your pocket that there was no way that Serena Williams was going to beat this young lady. And not only did she not beat her, she didn't raise a gallop in the match and walked out of there kind of with her head down a little bit. Body language for Serena Williams was not strong. And, of course, we have said this. The body looks a little bit more like, I don't know, do you remember the player Gates Brown?
No.
Major League Baseball? She kind of looks like Gates Brown. She does. I mean, body-wise. Body type-wise, if you remember this guy.
I mean, I think she's.
That's not body shaming. It's just when they show highlights of Serena, and you look, she was always large, but for the standards of women's tennis. Wow, I mean, she looks entirely different than she did, and any movement that she's forced to have to exhibit or exert, there's nothing happening after that, right? She can't take 2 steps one way or the other and make a shot.
Look, I get it. At this point, she's earned leaving how she wants to leave.
Yeah.
We're talking to a few people who said she's earned it. Okay. Yeah. Just because you've earned it doesn't mean that it's good to leave on a horrendous note. It's sad. Like, I forgot about the match, and then I just looked at the score, and I'm like, really? Straight sets like that? Like, come on, man. And Raducanu was 19, by the way, and she's the British number 1, and she's reigning U.S. Open champion, and that's fine.
No, she's a real player. There's no doubt.
That's barely raising a gallop, though. Why would you do that? I don't know. Look, I've never hit those great So I guess when you've worked that hard to get to that place, you want to leave how you want to leave. But don't you want to leave? It was the thing with Bobby Bowden to me. Like people are like, well, he should leave. Why would he want to leave tarnishing the legacy he made? Like you can leave however you want to leave, but at some point, don't you want to just go out like the John Elway route, go out into the sunset, like galloping off? And like why would you want to go off like limping on the ground, carrying your leg behind you? Like
with no shot of
get
doing
it.
anything except going out there. I don't know if it's particularly embarrassing. I mean, she's still playing professional tennis. So she hadn't played for a year. She's had, I want to say, what would it be? She won one match, so she was 1-1 in that tournament, and lost. Now she's like 1-3 in matches coming back after a year layoff, after having a child. I don't know. Did that come in between there too? How old's that kid? She been around? She been around for a while. There was a kid in the stands there. The salutation would be appropriate. I don't know who she's going to play in the first round of the U.S. Open. Whoever it is, I'm thinking you could unload on that player, and there'll be a lot of sentimental money maybe on Serena. She's not winning the tournament, so any people that are thinking about taking money out of their pocket there and making this bet, it's almost like this guy. There was an article today. A guy put down $1,500 on a prop bet in Las Vegas, betting a futures bet on the NFL. He bet that Will Fuller will be the league leader in touchdown receptions.
What?
Will Fuller.
Now?
He got 500-1 on Will Fuller. He's going to get
Seems
750,000 if Will Fuller leads the NFL in touchdown receptions. Now,
What
here's the only problem, Lubie. Will Fuller is not even on a team right now.
Yeah, what team is he on? Like no one's picked him up
None.
yet.
Imagine.
I don't care.
That's
how
another
much-
one of those calls to the back, isn't it? Hey, Lou, we got a guy out here. What's Will Fuller? 1,500. You want to take it? Yeah, we'd have to give him 750,000. Okay, no problem. I mean, what casino is really going to risk paying out 750,000 on anything that has a legitimate chance on a $1,500 bet? Do they need the 1,500 at Caesar's Palace? No. Caesar's Resorts, are they hurting for this guy's 1,500? They should have actually sent him straight to Gamblers Anonymous. No,
Yes. You're just throwing money away at that point. Like the dude's not even in the league.
1,500, not like 50. 1,500 at 500-1. The odds on the prop bet went from 500-1 because it is 1,500. Shows you how little money is actually bet on this kind of stuff. And I would imagine there are limits. The professor always talks about this, that they're not letting you bet 200 grand on something like this. All right, so I mean you're probably limited to like 500 tops, but they took the 1,500. Probably because, I mean, the guy probably took it and went straight to like a Vegas strip club and started going Mayweather, just throwing money in the air. Because this was just money that somebody came and dropped off at the casinos, essentially, with no chance to win the bet. Guy's not even on a roster, Lubie. How's he going to lead the league in touchdown passes? What do you think? Bit of a waste of money. The odds went down to 100-1 now. You're only getting 100-1 on Will Fuller if you want to follow in this man's footsteps. You know how people are at the track and there's a guy that's usually pretty sharp. Everybody respects him as a bettor, and he puts, give me 200 to win on a 4. Give me a $100 exacta box 2-4. And, the word starts circulating. Hey, you see that guy, man? He put 200 to win on a 4. He bet a $100 exacta box with the 2. So all of a sudden you're influenced and thinking, why wouldn't you just figure immediately this man is a crazy man? Has no idea what he's doing. So, and people will go. I mean, they'll be online. They'll hear a guy bet 200 on a 4. They'll throw a few bucks on the 4. So I don't know if anybody was behind this guy in line when he put the 1,500 on Will Fuller, but you would have to think that is a bizarre prop bet. Any dime that's bet on Serena to win the U.S. Open is in that same capacity in terms of possibility of returning any money on your investment. Yeah, I mean, you are dreaming, people. Dreaming. Now watch her go out and win it.
No.
It would be. I don't think she could play 7 matches. I really don't. I think by the end of the 2-week run there of the U.S. Open, if she was around in the final, she would have to just default and say I can't do it. She looked like she was out of gas 3 games into the match last night, breathing heavily in the corner there. Needed a cut man. It was pretty insane, but. Anyway, so this will probably be it. Those tickets are going for a lot of money. On a side court, they had this Carlos Alcaraz, who's the hottest guy in tennis right now outside of Kyrgios. And this guy's a definitive draw and an attraction. I would want to go see this guy play. I mean, if I had a choice of seeing Raducanu and Serena on one court, which was played on the main court in the stadium court, or Alcaraz, knocking the crap out of the ball, I would go to the side court and watch Alcaraz. But this is all part of the salutation, and I'm hoping. I mean, she should get like any number of standing ovations there, Serena. No, send her off in a good light. I don't know. She never killed anybody. She wasn't the nicest person. We kind of turned on her because we don't like phonies. We really don't. We want you to just be straight up. If you are an asshole, just be an asshole. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just be an asshole.
Don't pretend to be a nice person. Exactly. Just be the asshole that you are. That's going to be my motto for living from now on. Just be the asshole that you are. There's your lesson, man. Who says you don't get life lessons here? We'll get some from Tony Segreto. He's going to join us at 8 o'clock today. We'll go a little old school with Tony. And I don't know if Tony was able to catch that Dolphin preseason game, if he has any great observations on that. And I thought O.J. McDuffie was pretty good talking about it yesterday. I mean, he's always great, but, he didn't go overboard with anything, but I think we got the proper dose of enthusiasm. I was reading another prospectus there on the AFC East this morning, Lubie. Mm-hmm. And what did they say? And I think this was kind of fairly put. If you're talking about the biggest question mark facing the Miami Dolphins is what? It's Tua.
Okay.
And whether or not he measures up. The man's quote was, whoever wrote this little piece, Tua, his ceiling remains a mystery. And that is true, is it not? I mean, how high can this guy go? Have we seen the best of Tua Tagovailoa? I don't think so.
That's not possible.
Could he be better? I tell you what, whoever is editing the highlight film that is released to the press or whatever, these news stations are taking, every pass this guy throws is a dart in practice. Now, there's nobody coming after him. He's not running around. There's nobody covering the receivers on these throws. But he throws a beautiful ball, doesn't he?
Yes.
He really does. I mean, a perfect spiral every time. There's no wobble. I mean, it doesn't look like something that came off the hand of Joe Cap. Throws like a perfect ball, and he spins it out there pretty quickly. I don't know. Why wouldn't this guy have some potential? Perhaps with better coaching or with a coach that wasn't. If somebody just hates everything you do, like was the case, with our program director.
It didn't stop us.
I know. I could feel it. You sense these things. You try to feel the audience when you're doing this stuff. I mean, even though obviously, can I really get out there and reach out and touch you guys? No. I mean, we have nice ways of communicating here with the chat line and all of that stuff. And, in general, from meeting a lot of people that we've talked to over the years in various capacities, radio, TV, right now with the streaming, you have the impression that people kind of follow along with what you're doing and they get it.
Yeah,
I feel very comfortable in that. But at the same time, I could feel the program director cringing with every segment that we put on the air, cringing. And then begrudgingly coming in and going, oh, you guys going to do that all day? We're like, what? Yeah, of course. This is what we do. Stream of consciousness. She was very opposed to that. She thought that was, no way to do radio. You definitely need, topical stuff where we can sit there and debate, who's the better quarterback, Marino or Montana. Always a very tangible argument, and it usually is resolved with the same question being asked at the end of the argument. Yeah. So, what do you think? Are the Jets going to be any good this year? I don't know.
No idea.
Favorable report on your man, Zach Wilson. I guess, I don't know. Has there ever been a surgery that's ever been deemed a failure?
No,
torn meniscus is no big deal, though, anymore. Yeah. He had the surgery yesterday, and supposedly he's going to have a quick return. The New York press, at least represented by the New York Post, which I read this morning, is concerned that, there may be a temptation on Saleh, the new coach. Well, he was there last year, but the relatively new coach of the Jets, that Robert Saleh is going to try to rush Wilson back. And that was the big warning. Don't get all crazy about having him ready for opening day, which is, 3 weeks away? Is that right?
Away. Yeah.
Torn meniscus, I mean, based on my own experience with it, I mean, there's no reason this guy couldn't come back and be at full strength by opening day, based on that.
2 to 4 weeks. I mean, he's a young kid, too, so he should heal quick.
Should be quick. I don't know. I guess there are varying degrees of this injury. Mine must have been pretty minor because I literally, I walked to my car right after the surgery and was fine. All in that, you have this big bandage on and you're thinking, well, geez, I should be in pain, but guess what? I'm not. You're going to take these steps one at a time, but then, in the end, you end up just running up and down the stairs there, and you're thinking, wow, this is only one day after this surgery. This is fantastic. Thank you to Dr. McKay. He did a great job. And that juice, whatever he put in my other knee, this is good stuff, Lubie. I'm telling you. Didn't seem that way at first, but this is good stuff. Some kind of gel thing that, it cushions the fact that you have like bone on bone. And, staves off the idea that you might need a knee replacement, which is nothing that I think anybody looks forward to. Correct? Here I am, but I'm doing this at like 70-something. So if, if Zach Wilson's in any kind of shape, you would have to think that, his young blood is going to help him heal a lot faster. So maybe he'll be ready. I don't know. Opening day. It's already a disaster for the Jets because they have Becton out of there. Now, did the Mets lose again last night? I didn't see the score. I think they did. No? Mets and the Braves were going at it? Because that thing's getting pretty tight there in the National League East, if that's the case. Who won this ball game last night?
Oh, wow.
The Mets?
Oh,
what happened?
Oh, that's not good. Braves won 5-0.
5-0. All right. So they won, I think, 13-1 in the first game of the series and 5-0 last night with everything on the line now. Now, if the Mets win this series, they were up, They were up 5.5 on the Braves coming into the series. They're now up 3.5 on the Braves. Now, that's getting very interesting, Lubie, because guess what? We're not into September yet, and that race is already going to be dead tight. And you would have to think both of those teams make the postseason.
Yeah.
That I think the Braves are well ahead in the wild card chase. Like they're up like 6 games or something in the wild card chase. So it'd be pretty hard for the Mets to fall out of that spot. But wow, what a disappointment it would be if all of a sudden and the Mets lost a couple of starters now, starting pitchers. They had Carrasco. He was injured 2 nights ago, and this guy Walker got hurt last night, I think. So very, very rough period of time here, and could be interesting watching what develops there in the National League East. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, you do have tight races for the wild card. They added an extra wild card team, and that put more teams in the race that would be hopelessly out of it at this point, were it not for the fact that they decided to go with an extra 2 teams in the postseason. And that keeps it interesting. The Marlins got a win last night. And how about this, Lubie? They staved off infamy. They scored 4 runs in the ballgame, and for the first time in beating the San Diego Padres 4-3, and for the first time in 17 games, they broke a 17-game streak of having 3 runs in a game or less. They were about to tie a record by like the 1908, like New York Highlanders or something, before they were even the Yankees. Of ineptitude. So I don't know how excited you could get. I tuned in at the most disastrous moment. They're up 3-0. I'm flipping channels. Yeah, I mean, I tune in and it's 3-0. I tune away for a while, and I'm thinking, okay, let's see what happens here. I come back to it about, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes later. Bases loaded. And Machado's at the plate. And, of course, he drills one in the gap there for a 3-run double. First pitch I saw. I'm a jinx. I'm the Rachel Nichols of the local baseball team. It's kind of tough to take. All right. Many things happening on a lot of different fronts. I did post this, and I'm curious to just get a general reaction. Because I was trying to think. I'm watching all these little kids going to school. They had a lot of stories on the news about kids going to school for the first day of school. I guess in the county, Broward County was yesterday.
Yes.
Dade County, it's today. They're all going off to school. And the big concerns of the new school superintendents, both counties have new school superintendents. And it's a very lucrative job, and it does appear to be some kind of a stepping stone sort of job, if you want it to be, right? Who was the guy with the hair? That was the Dade County commissioner for a long, long time, and now he's like the commissioner of like the L.A. County schools or something. They offered him like huge money to go to New York. He turned it down, and I think now he went to the West Coast. So it's a good stepping stone job, superintendent of schools in South Florida, either Dade or Broward County. But both of them expressed, one of their big concerns about the year was the nutrition of these students. And I was led, to think back to when I was going to school, like grade school, and you got the school lunch.
Yeah.
hardly was there any attention being paid to any of the principles of nutrition when they were making this shit. I can tell you. So I was thinking, well, what was your favorite? I mean, it was always like a thing. You would get the menu and you think, oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that, right? Yep. What was it? Was it the horrible pizza?
So we had Mexican
Sloppy
pizza.
Joe's?
We had a thing called Mexican pizza that everyone I know had a soft spot for. And I've never found it since anywhere. Like other places that have Mexican pizza, it's not the same. So I don't know where they got this thing from. And it was the material for the actual pizza was the dough was, I don't know what you call it, but we grew up and it was like a thing that we all loved. And I don't know what it was made out of, and I never want to know, but that was something we all look forward to. And I don't know really what it was, to be brutally honest.
Spaghetti, was that like among the favorites? I don't know that they never really served chili where I was. Chili was not a big thing. That might have been, a big plus. You had various sandwiches, but they were not the exotic kinds that Mayo has been experiencing here on his National Sandwich Month campaign, which, by the way, that's also known as who needs Charles Bronson? I mean, Mayo is experiencing Death Wish 3.
I love that.
Did they have a third Death Wish movie, or was there only two? I want to say there were only two, Death Wish. But this would be Death Wish 3. I mean, a guy's eating like 5 sandwiches a day. I don't, and then he's offsetting that with a short walk. He's gotten into the walk of life routine. But that would be the only salvation of what this man is experiencing.
Death Wish 3 in 1985. So he's Death Wish 4.
4. Wow, Quattro. We had a good time at that Coasters yesterday. He didn't finish that, which was surprising. They call them what? Euros? I call them gyros.
You say gyro, but it's euro. Yeah, the Greeks call it euro. The G, you don't say it's not a hard G. I just love that he went from there, had a sandwich, then he had some other sandwich because at nighttime he sends us a thing about he wanted to make sure we knew that he found a Mexican sandwich, which a torta is a Mexican sandwich. But then he's called that his 4th sandwich. So I'm like, where was the 3rd? I'm like, what are you doing?
How is it possible? Yeah. I mean, the Mustang must be watching these things now because she actually said, well, why don't we suggest, to Mike Mayo and everybody else out there, how about a salad a day for a month?
You've said that. You said that last week.
He hasn't even gotten into a bunch of categories yet. And one of the ones that we need to explore with Mayo is gas station sandwiches.
Oh, Jesus.
Sandwiches that can be had at a gas station. Now, you have to figure that Wawa is going to run away with that. Although, I don't know. Are Wawa sandwiches that great?
No, they're good for gas station sandwich.
For gas station sandwiches, yeah.
Yes.
Because they actually have a guy like making a sandwich with real meat. It's not like the plutonium encased stuff that used to get. Remember the Stewart sandwich? The Stewart sandwich. Anybody ever eat a Stewart sandwich and live to tell about it? I don't know.
Live to tell about it.
There was a guy, I think, I want to say his name was Gadabout Gaddis. He was known as the Flying Fisherman. Okay. And I think he had a radio show also, a fishing radio show that, this is going way back. And I believe he was sponsored by Stewart Sandwiches. Because you would think that would be convenient for a fisherman, right? You go to gas up the boat, you go inside, you grab, 24 cans of beer, put it on the boat for you and the one other guy that's going fishing with you. And then, you figure, hey, you want a couple of these? And you grab those sandwiches. They were always like heavily wrapped, almost to the point of being disguised in saran wrap, right? It was literally like they were wrapping a mummy. You were thinking, what is this, a sandwich or King Tut? And that was probably wise because if they wanted to sell any of these, they had to be completely disguised and undisclosed as to what was comprising the sandwich. But we should do that, right? Gas station sandwiches? Wouldn't that be a category that we could explore with male gas station sandwiches?
That are like pre-wrapped? Like the ones that you really don't know how old they are? And
convenience store, that sort of thing.
Even I don't need that stuff. Jesus. That's pretty rough.
I think it's a category worth exploring, no? I mean, the guy's going to run out of ideas. He's already had like his 3rd chicken parm sandwich, and we're only midway through the month. Anyway, we'll have more of that coming up later on in the program. And then tomorrow he's actually going to be at a sandwich place with Nikki Mohan.
I know.
Which is great. That place is supposed to be dynamite, though. I may even have to show up there. It's not far enough away from the house to discourage me from making that move. All right, a lot to come on the program. We'll go old school with Tony Segreto. We have the NFL, another weekend of games on tap here, and those get underway again tomorrow night. see what's on the slate here, Lubie. I didn't really take a great look at it. The
preseason. Oh God.
Yeah, preseason football. Dolphins, of course, are hosting. Now, this is weird. I don't understand this. They're hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Is there something that we know about the Dolphins' approach to this game that the odds makers are onto? Because the Raiders on the road are favored by 2 points to win this preseason game. Is it that Josh McDaniels has some kind of penchant? Has he demonstrated some great desire to win preseason ball games? The Raiders are 2-0, aren't they?
And this is their third game, so they
Third
have
game.
the leg up. I guess they have the leg
Oh
up.
yeah, and maybe they're throwing their starters in there. Okay, that could be. Because they do have another one. Then this is their third of 4 games.
Yeah, they'll actually get 4.
All right, you have the Seahawks and the Bears on Thursday night, with the Seahawks favored at home by 5 and a hook in a preseason game. 5 and a hook. That's a big number. Friday, you have 3 games on the slate. And what questions will be answered in those games? Looks to me like virtually none. Huh? Does Jameis come back and throw a couple of passes for the Saints? Is he going to be in action, or is he still out injured? I'm not sure. The Packers, you would think the Packers, wouldn't they be inclined to have some kind of drop-off this year?
I think so.
We know now that Aaron Rodgers is crazy, and they don't have Devontae Adams, which, he was more than a bailout factor for Aaron Rodgers last year. You would have to think that maybe they go down a little bit. Plus, the general manager and the coach, they both got fat. They both got huge contract extensions based on, the merit of winning, 13 games? Is it 3 years in a row that they won 13 games or more?
I know they were the number 1 at least 2 years in a row. They're the number 1 seed at least 2.
And then a big slate of games on Saturday, 3 more on Sunday, and a Monday night football game this week. So
I was going to say, where did the Monday night game come from? Are they televising it? Are they doing Are they doing a?
I would think so. An isolated NFL game on a Monday night. You don't think somebody's going to be televising that? Like, da-na-na, da-na-na.
Well, it's a new crew, right? So are you really going to get, Joe Buck and Aikman? Are you getting Joe Buck and Aikman to do a preseason game?
Joe Buck and Aikman never did anything special for me. Neither of those guys.
I agree. But this is the first time on ESPN. Is ESPN doing a practice?
A big thing?
By that. I was like, is there a Monday game?
Why would you embarrass Joe Buck and Troy Aikman by throwing them on an ESPN preseason game? I would imagine you want to showcase the fact that they're there, right? Get people used to that whole idea. Since you just paid like $800 million to have 2 guys announce a football game, which who's paying attention anyway, right? Do you really what do you remember from last season? Are there any Vin Scully calls that you remember from last year, or particularly sharp insights that you got from a color analyst during an NFL telecast where you said, wow, man, that is really deep. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it says it's on ESPN. The game's on ESPN. Falcons, Jets. Oh, Jesus. You're not even going to have Zach Wilson. Oh, my God. And the Falcons starter's Mariota. Geez.
Ooh. Quick observation. I don't know. Did anybody catch this? I guess it's been decided now. I don't know who won, but I saw a little bit of the action in the Little League Softball World Series, the girls' version of the Little League World Series, which, of course, has been a classic event for a long, long time, although maybe exploited to the point of, annoyance, where, you're seeing a zillion of these Little League games on TV on ESPN, which I don't know. It jogs the memory bank for, a moment or two. You think back to when you were a Little League player. It's kind of cool to see kids playing baseball. They seem to do it in the right spirit, at least in the Little League World Series. The coaches aren't maniacs. They're actually saying positive things. The parents, aren't in fistfights in the stands, which they would be if you were watching any normal Little League game. Yeah. You have to check people for weapons when they get out of their cars. That's where we're at today in society. But I did notice this. If you thought there was cheating in the male version of the Little League World Series, these girls from Maryland, there is no way that any of them were anywhere near 12 years old. It looked like, you don't remember my favorite softball player of all time. Tony, makes a face whenever I mention this, because the girl was humongous. Crystal Bustos, who maybe was the greatest. I know she doesn't hold a record anymore. There was, some young lady that broke the record for home runs in college career. I'm not sure exactly what Bustos' college career was, but she was on all of these national teams that the United States had on display, Olympic teams and things like that, U.S. national teams. And man, this woman looked like I was in a league briefly when I lived in Fontana, California, and it was the Steelworkers League because everybody worked at the steel plant there, Kaiser Steel. All right, now you should have seen these guys, Lubie. Literally, I mean, I'm not a small person, and I was like Billy Barty out there. I looked like Eddie Goodell
really?
when I came to the plate. Yeah, these other guys were gargantuan, man. They didn't have a lot of singles hitters in this league. And it was so, impossible to stop these guys from hitting home runs. They used a 16-inch softball. Have you ever seen that? It was like hitting a bowling ball for the average guy.
What the hell?
And they still crushed it and hit them like straight out of the park, bouncing them off the building there. I mean, it was unbelievable. And these girls from Maryland look to be that size. Every one of them. I mean, I've never seen anything like you. Usually, you get one, big kid, and then the rest of them are, here's little Johnny Jones. He's 4'8" and weighs 72 pounds. And his favorite movie, is Rocky III. And you're like, oh, great. His favorite book, you're expecting him to put up like, something by Dostoevsky. No, of course not. His favorite book is like a comic book. And, anyway, these girls, they were massive from Maryland. Anybody catch this? The Maryland women's or girls Little League softball team. I think they won the championship. Huge. Serena looks like, she is dwarfed by these women in terms of size. Unbelievable. Now you're going to tell me those girls were all 12 and under.
I don't know.
There was no investigation, no checking and verification of birth certificates, place of birth, anything. I think they were even recruiting women from foreign countries. I'm not sure to what extreme. The Maryland women's girls softball team was cheating, but I believe they won the Olympics. Check the roster there and see what they list the sizes as. I guarantee you there are at least 5 women there that, scale at over 200 pounds. And, they weren't just annihilating people, but I think they were in kind of a tight contest in their last game.
Is they're showing, so I found a picture. So I'm trying to get it to scale just to see how big they are. But in the picture, the coaches are there, right? There's 4 coaches. And at least 4 of the girls, if not 5, are the same exact height as the coaches.
They're huge.
They're grown men. And these aren't little guys, too. Like, these guys look like 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". Like,
we know Tony Segreto loves women's softball, but I want to hear his explanation for this.
There's at least 4, 5 that are nearly the same size as the coaches. At least 5.
I couldn't believe it. It's one after another. Like I said, usually you'll see like one kid, it just happens to be like way oversized for the age.
I mean, it happens.
It happens. Okay. So you can consider that somewhat legit, but you don't see a whole lineup come up like that.
No.
The Yankees lineup wasn't as big as these girls, right? I mean, some of them were bigger than Aaron Judge. Incredible.
Andy was like, I dated a softball player once. She was tougher than me. Probably. No, softball player.
That event just slipped quietly under the radar. Even Sarney never referenced it.
No, he did not. The
biggest advocate of women's sports getting equal time and coverage on these kind of shows, and he never mentioned it. And yet, I'm watching this thing, and I was absolutely blown away by the size of the Maryland Little League women's softball team. That whole Danny Almonte thing looked like a joke compared to what these girls were pulling off. My God, where did they find these women?
You have Cyborg.
They went back to their factory jobs after, this was over. They were all working on professional crab fishermen. They're huge. All right, that's our observation on sports. I don't know that we accomplished much there, but that was interesting in its rambling, I guess. They're finding more bodies in Lake Mead because of the global warming and the drought that's going on. Does that come as a surprise to you, Lake Mead out in Las Vegas?
No, I mean, out west you get droughts. I was scared to know how many droughts California would get this year. I mean, it's been really dry.
Yeah, but I mean, no, we always thought that all of those bodies were buried in the desert somewhere out there by the neon sign graveyard. Yeah, body parts. Yeah, they keep finding remains.
So they just
Bodies are just washing up all over the streets of Las Vegas, like right there on Las Vegas Boulevard on this strip. All of a sudden, here's a dilapidated body, that has been disintegrating for the last 30 years while sitting at the bottom of Lake Mead as a reef. Hey, vey. All right, we're coming back with more. We're just getting going here. Hialeah Park, man, they've been going strong 9 years now. Incredible job by the people at Hialeah Park. I know Tony loves Hialeah Park, and for good reason, because I remember, not only the good old days out there, but I mean, the good times are more than back. 9 years of just hellacious entertainment going on at Hialeah Park. Champion Simulcasting Room was great. Still have the Travers coming up, and that's taking place at Saratoga. There's no better fusion of the actual vibe of being there and still catching an event on a simulcast while you remain in town than the Hialeah Park setting for betting Saratoga and the Champion Simulcasting Room. I mean, especially you almost feel like you're at the track there. Sit out there on the veranda there smoking a cigar like Dave Gurgles Gurgley with a big Perdomo, couple of cocktails, and it's not like you have to go far to find it. I mean, they'll bring everything to you. But whatever you want, if you want fancy schmancy, they have it. If you want a hot dog, they have that. Cuban sandwich, as we said, there should get in touch with Frank Fiore, see if there's somehow we can arrange to have Mayo eat a Cuban sandwich.
Because he's trying to focus on Broward, and I don't think anyone in Broward is going to touch what Hialeah does. So that would be the move.
No, unbelievable.
Like the day before, drop it off or something. Yeah, that would be the thing.
Then you look up on the the price sheet there and the menu and as the price is next to it and you're thinking they left off a one, right? Because you're looking at this sandwich and it's like $7 or something and you're thinking it should be 17. So no, great stuff there. Hialeah Park food and drink is really top notch. They do a tremendous job. Always have. They always had great restaurants there, and they still do. You can plan a private party there, or go ahead to any kind of celebration, a banquet, anything like that. Check it out, HialeahPark.com. They'll put you in touch with the right people, and you can make arrangements to do anything like Lubie nearly did with his wedding. That would have been sensational. What a party! And imagine, I mean, a lot of people they'll bring in like a phony casino setup, where there's no actual cash involved there. And, they bring in these guys and they bring a couple of poker tables in or blackjack and they got a dice table and, it's a great expense. Well, why not just go to a casino and have your party? That'd be the way to do it and have it catered and everything taken care of and lots of parking. And you don't have to worry about, hey, Joe, you mind if we park a few cars in your driveway? None of that. Set that thing up at Hialeah Park, HialeahPark.com. A casino's great. I just saw somebody take down a $50,000 jackpot. They have some new machines in there that are really paying big money. And so you can, take a shot at fame right there, right? It's like hitting a giant pick six. Fantastic. Walk away. And there's no better sign on a slot machine than see attendant. Or call attendant after making a big hit. And this was like 50 dimes they were paying out just the other day at Hialeah Park. And the poker room is always top-notch as well. I mean, really a well-run organization all the way through. Get a player's card, all kinds of great rewards associated with that. I mean, one of the dynamite rewards programs anywhere in the casino industry. Just great people all the way around. It's a home run every time you make your plans to visit and actually get out there to beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more. Tony's going to join us in a few minutes here on the program. Tony Segreto, iconic South Florida broadcaster and known around the world. And up there in Vermont, where I have to ask him about this. I don't know if it was anywhere near him. They actually had some kind of serious crime take place there.
Oh, wow.
You don't think of crime in Vermont. I don't know. Was there like a shooting or something?
No idea.
Something happened there. I saw it on the news this morning. I was half asleep, but there's a blip there, and a cop cars all over the place. So I hope Tony's okay. I would imagine he is, right? But you could see the rural nature of the area there. I mean, Tony is really in some kind of bizarre isolation, and yet manages to stay in touch with everything. How does he do it, this kid? He's unbelievable. Tony Segreto. All right, he's going to join us in a little while, and that's brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants and Catholic Health Services, two great organizations, which with Texas Roadhouse, especially baffling in these hard times for the restaurant business, how they managed to maintain the highest level of quality at ridiculously low prices. It's insane how they do it. So we're very proud to represent them. And Catholic Health Services, wow. I can't tell you what a difference it makes to have people that actually care about the patient and the people that are concerned about that patient and their well-being. A huge differential. And then when you see right away, Lubie, it's true. I noticed the difference in the professionalism and the approach of Catholic Health Services with my very first email contact with somebody at the organization there. My very first inquiry was met with just absolutely, point blank directions on how to deal with the situation and what they could do. And they went out and they did it. It was just absolutely amazing. So, you're going to enjoy dealing with Catholic Health Services, Texas Roadhouse Restaurants, great place. When are we having the
I don't know.
the
Tony's not
season
here.
luncheon?
I feel like Tony sort of
Do we
has
do
to
it
go.
without him? I mean, do we do it without? We can't.
I don't know.
Tony.
I'd rather do it with him, but I don't know when he's coming. He's not here. It's weird.
I mean, I'd love to glom a dinner over there at
I wanted
Texas
to meet
Roadhouse
up
with
and
Ed
talk about
Garcia.
it. It's an interesting idea.
All right, well, we'll find out what Tony's schedule. He has to come down here because he's like the orange. He is the Orange Bowl committee, Tony. I don't think there are any other members left anymore. It's just Tony. He's running the whole show. We got the national championship game too. I don't think we mentioned that, Lubie.
2026.
See, the problem is it's 2026.
Yeah,
and I remember this when I was in L.A. What were they having? The Olympic Games were going to be there, I think, in '84. Was that when they had the Los Angeles Olympic Games? And I left there in 1981. But, and when it was announced, I thought, wow, geez, they're going to have the Olympics here. And then at this stage of my life, 2026, that's 4 years from now. I can't guarantee that I'm even going to be here.
I presume you'll be alive. I don't know if you'll still be doing this, but I think you'll be alive. I don't know if you'll give a shit.
I'll be doing something like this to my grave. There's no way I would ever give this up. I mean, it's honestly, what would you do? I mean, just wake up as a vegetable in the morning? Forget about it.
I don't know. People retire.
There's no retiring in this business anymore. There's no way out. There is no out.
Who retires? I don't know if anyone does. They always linger and do something. I mean,
remember when Ray Donovan was dealing with the Romanians, right? And he said, "Well, this should square us up." And the nasty woman, looked at him and said, "There is no out."
Yep.
Like, you're in, man. That's it. We'll be doing this to our grave, Louie. I don't know about you. You'll probably make a lot of money selling off South Florida Live someday. When and benefit from the hard work of other people, which is the way to make it in this business.
So far, that's not the case.
All right, Tony Segreto coming up in a few minutes here. That was a blowout, man. I mean, who figured Serena to get bageled? Wow, that would have been a bet, huh? That would have taken some balls to go out there and bet Serena would get bageled in the second set last night. There were people that actually thought she still had a chance to win. After the first set, which she was badly outplayed in, and then the second set was an even bigger disaster. And she didn't look happy when she walked off. I don't know. I mean, there has to be a lot of ego involved, And I mean, when all of a sudden, it's not like she looked like a buffoon, but this is Serena Williams we're talking about. I mean, it was as sad as seeing that Willie Mays with that swinging bunt for the Mets. It really was.
Yeah.
Or a completely, Ali didn't land a punch in that fight against Larry Holmes. All he did was put his gloves up and get socked in the face for like however many rounds it took place. And everybody was screaming at Angelo, "Throw in a towel, Angie, come on. Stop it, ref, it's a killing." We made a killing on that one, though. 6-5, Larry Holmes. I mean, come on. Lubie, every now and then they give you a gimme. I don't know what the odds were. We have to check that out on Raducanu yesterday. But I would have bet every dime I had in my pocket that she would beat Serena Williams. And once again, the acknowledgement is fair. I mean, she's going to play this last match probably at the U.S. Open. I would get there for the first round. And then that will be the salutation, no?
I guess.
I mean, you can applaud every shot she takes, and that would be fine. I mean, a fitting thing. A big distraction for whoever she plays in the first round, but if it's anybody... Well, and when you get to the U.S. Open, I mean, I don't know. They can't feed her a qualifier, can they? So she gets a guaranteed win. I mean,
maybe.
What is this? Does the WTA become the World Boxing Council? How could that possibly be that she draws anybody but like one of the seeded players? All right, coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
This young girl, only 19. Wow, what composure she has, Lubie. I mean, very, very respectful of the way she handled herself through the entire affair. Because, look, you're beating the crap out of a legend. So what do? I mean, you call for the referee to chair umpire to, hey, could you stop it? I thought Serena was going to withdraw out of frustration at one point, but she went ahead and got the old bagel rooski. Would you say with a schmear or with cream cheese? Which way would you call it out?
If you lose like that, that's with a schmear. That's
Smeared,
straight
yeah.
schmear.
She got smeared. It is 7:54.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
All right, welcome back to the show. Always a good time for us. We get to Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and that means we go old school with our good friend, our dear friend, and one of the legendary broadcasters of all time. I mean, it might be Scully. Maybe you throw Red Barber in there, and Dick Enberg, some of those guys. But you would always have to mention Tony Segreto somewhere in the conversation. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz, the Defo Show here on South Florida Live. And Tony joins us once again from his digs in Vermont. This had to be big news. Well, what the? Oh, you're back home? Look at that.
No, I'm not back home. I am actually in Michigan.
Michigan. Okay. With the wife?
Excuse me?
Is your wife still there?
Yeah. My wife is still here, and we are here. Our niece / goddaughter is getting married over the weekend. Our daughter is in the wedding. She's flying in tomorrow morning. Our son's flying in tomorrow night. So it's going to be a nice family reunion, and it's great. It's just I love the Midwest, and Michigan is such a great spot. It really is, in terms of this is another town that is, like New England, where they just love their sports. My goodness, great. I mean, despite the fact, they made a big deal over the fact that this was, I think yesterday was the first time since July that the Tigers had won 2 in a row, but you'd never know it because
still root for them. Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness gracious me. Absolutely. And, they're all excited, whether they, I don't know if the excitement is legitimate, but for the Lions, and
they're excited for the Lions.
All I can tell you is I don't think it's legitimate, but they're fans. They love their teams. It's generational. There's, children are wearing Tigers or Lion shirts. People are wearing their Tigers hats. I mean, it's I walk around with a Yankees hat on, and again, I get the look.
Probably not a good idea in Detroit. That can be rough. Yeah. Are you in Detroit, Michigan, or what part?
Just southeast of Detroit, maybe by about 25, 30 miles. So my wife was born and raised here. Is one of 8 in a big Italian family, and needless to say, the food bag is on. And what's great for me is being born in New Jersey, and as you don't know, in New York, Jeff, being brought up there, born there, and on every market and every corner, you'd see an Italian market of some sort, just the greatest, whether it's cookies or breads or whatever.
The smell of the cheese has still
exactly.
has left an impression with me. The smell of the cheese.
Yeah, and that's the way it is here. So it's just, if you're going to, Bommaritos or this place or that place, to get, different things. So that's what, and then the afternoon, my wife goes, "Where are you going?" I said, just look, I was going to drive around, and I come home with pastries.
Different style of pizza there too, which is becoming popular in other places. Yeah,
Yeah.
Detroit pizza.
You know what's interesting? I wanted to bring this up. This is just a complete we call them whammos in my family. They just come out of the left field. I forgot. Obviously Domino's started here, so Domino's is a big deal. But you know what else started here, which they're all over the place, are Little Caesars.
Yes.
And
the guy owned the teams.
Exactly. So you don't see very many Little Caesars, around Florida anymore.
Horrible.
Around, but here they're here like all over the place. It's incredible. It really is. So.
I mean, almost all pizza would be something that I would favor, but Little Caesars was
that's
bottom
tough.
of the barrel.
Yeah.
That made Domino's look like you were in Rome. I mean, it was
exactly.
Which they just shut down their operation in Rome. Believe it or not, how are they even surviving there? Rome, Italy, where you can get a pizza for a couple of bucks virtually everywhere. Here you have people ordering Domino's pizza. It's amazing. All right, Tony, I don't know if you had a chance to catch any of this Dolphins exhibition game or preseason game.
Little bits here and there.
Yeah.
It was what I expected. Everybody will get excited over this and that, and it's way too early to tell. I'm telling you, I keep preaching this. I'm boring my children. I am so against preseason. I can't even tell you. Guys are getting injured, and they're out for the season. The teams can't prepare properly. We're not seeing the best of what they have. But listen, for the first time out and trying to learn this offense, and obviously we're not going to see the offense we're going to see when the season starts. We never do. They're going to keep it as simple and as plain as possible. I mean, what were your thoughts? And then,
I didn't really have much of an impression. I mean, I like the Horatio Alger story of the quarterback there, 7th round pick. And, you're watching this kid and you're thinking, okay, well, when's he going to make the big blunder there and, demonstrate that this is the reason he's a 7th round pick, overlooked out of Kansas State. So that was sort of fun. I was kind of watching McDaniel a little bit to see what his level of composure was. He seemed to handle a situation as you would expect, and actually said, this was something that he has geared his whole life to doing. It's the one thing that he does well. He was being very humble about that, but he said that, the one thing I do well is football, and so it seemed very natural for me, as exciting as it was to be stepping on the field for the first time as an NFL head coach, no matter what, preseason or not. He said he just felt ready for it, like a smooth transition, symmetry into assuming that position, which looked like he handled it pretty well.
I thought so too. And you know what? I really, after looking at him on the sideline and reading what I've read, I like his whole aura. I like his whole, the way he handles things, the way he walks, the way he's composed. He seems very, very thoughtful in what he says before he says it.
Yeah.
He doesn't appear as if someone who's just going to pop off. Now, there may be moments where there's frustration, but unlike the other coaches we've had, I think he's cut from a different cloth. Again, I think they and I don't mean this as a disrespect to anybody, but they have a cerebral approach to the game that some other coaches may not have had. Okay, and I think
he's not as defensive. I mean, in terms of it
always
seemed like these other coaches were defending themselves. He doesn't. He handles these questions and kind of has a way of sort of easing the tension about the fact that somebody says, "Hey, you think Tua could ever make it as a starting quarterback?" Where these other guys would get all defensive about it. McDaniel has a way of just sort of smoothing over the situation.
I think his way is very, very easy, and you know what else? Come on, let's be honest. And this is where coaches just sort of piss me off, and I'm going to be honest with you. These are sports questions. We're not asking them to break down how to do brain surgery. We're not asking them, the tumor that someone has, how is he going or she going about taking it out? I mean, come on now. We're asking about a left tackle or a running back. We're not cracking the code. We're not cracking the code here.
True.
We're not giving up secret classified documents. Okay. We're not asking those questions. We're asking, do you think so-and-so played well? Or do you think that they can make it? Or what do they need to do? Come on, let's be honest with each other. Handle it with some class, with some dignity. You represent not just yourself, but you represent the brand of your college, your high school, your professional team, your city. And if I don't care. And I know it's all about winning. And if you're, if you're a winner, it doesn't matter if you're Belichick or Saban. I get that. But come on, at some point, we got to be honest with each other and go, come on, we're not, we're not splitting the atom here, asking them to, go. Am I right? Come on.
It's true. I always wonder. I'm like, why are they so frustrated? Was that tough of a question? Well, and we'll mock it because a lot of the time the questions are stupid. Like, what do you think? How well when they
can I tell you something, Lubie? I was taught a long time ago when I first started, no questions are stupid, answers are stupid.
And that's my thing is like sometimes obviously the guy's gonna bitch and moan when he went 0 for 7. So ask, how'd it feel to go 0 for 7? Yeah, that's not the greatest question, but then be honest. It sucked. Like we'll laugh, we'll joke with you. Like I never understand that the tough exterior. I'm smarter than you. Where are you? It's just a game, guys. Like you're not at NASA. Like
exactly.
Have you ever been surprised by an answer to a sports question? Because I have been.
I'm
a couple
sure
of times.
I have. I can't think of one.
Usually, you know what the answer is going to be. I remember I asked a friend of mine. He had just been in a world title fight, and he had a couple of rough rounds. It looked like he was going to lose. And, he was sort of staggered and on the ropes at one point. And I asked him how he felt at the time and what he was thinking. And he looks at me right in the eye and he says, thinking? I was seeing stars.
That's great.
Who can think, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm expecting some explanation. Well, I thought I'd turn it around and throw a couple of counter left hooks, but he literally just said he was on another planet at the time. So, I mean, once in a while you get surprised, but mostly you know what the answer is going to be. You made me think of the great Al Lombardo, who we were talking about the other day. I don't know if you remember this cat.
Oh my God,
one of the strangest maniacal guys, and
he would get raked over the coals for the way he handled himself. So
they couldn't wait to throw him out of these press conferences.
They were like there was an over under like when they throw him out. It was remarkable. But I learned
Harvey be like Stu.
Yeah,
Stu,
exactly.
Get him out of here.
There are a couple things that Shula taught me and taught us. Actually, you too, Jeff. The one question he hated was this question. Were you, and here was the magic word, were you surprised?
Oh, yeah.
It would send him through the roof. And
very commonly asked by all sports people.
Yeah, I can honestly tell you this. I think maybe in my career, I asked a handful of times, what does it feel like? Because if they lost, they feel like crap, and if they won, they feel great. Okay,
yep.
So but there were a few times when I asked to, like for example, the day that Doug Peterson was the quarterback, the day that Don won, won the game in Philadelphia that beat Hallis's record.
That was like a sloppy game too, as I recall.
Yeah, it was really. It was uneventful.
It wasn't a coaching masterpiece. Or
no,
like that.
No, and no. Well, he also was like on the third or fourth. Doug Peterson was like the third or fourth quarterback.
They were down to some limited possibilities.
But I remember the locker room just being absolutely, bombarded, and I was off in a corner because we were going to do Coach Shula live because it was so monumental that and this is when we were really in our heyday in the sports department. And I remember when he came over, we were in a commercial break. When he came over, he kind of went like this to me, and he whispered in my ear, he goes, "Please tell me how David did today. I hope he won."
Oh, yeah,
that's when David was the head coach.
The likelihood was that he lost because did he go like 3-12 or something? 13?
He lost. And when Shula came on, you could see that impacted him. And I go, Don, I said, I'm going to pull the curtain back. I hope you don't mind. First of all, congratulations to the whole thing. I said, I know that you've got to be excited about beating Hallis, but at the same time, I know you understand that David had a tough day today. And I'm telling you, he was incredible. that was probably one of the few times where I said, kind of like, how do you feel, but in a much different way, because I knew how it impacted him. He so loved his boys and his girls, his entire family, obviously, that his winning this game that beat Hallis was irrelevant to the fact that David lost.
Interesting, yeah. Well, he wasn't happy with Nick Saban for taking Mike Schuler's job either.
Oh,
that was Alabama. You could hear the dripping negativity every time. I mean, you didn't want to bring that up. I tell you what question used to frost Schuler a little bit. You could feel him kind of snap back, although he would answer it. And that was anything regarding Joe Namath in Super Bowl III.
Oh, yeah. Well,
he would always go right away to the, well, he had that quick release, man. And I was thinking, you had Bubba Smith.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Exactly. No, rightfully so. It was a burr in his saddle, man.
Yeah.
It was.
He didn't get over that.
But Nick was. You talk about that. That was a real burr in his saddle. And you know what? He wasn't the only one. There were a lot of people in Alabama that thought Mike got a raw deal because he had recruited well, and he had that 1 year where it was just a struggle while he was getting the players he wanted in, because he had to totally redo that program.
Yeah, I mean they weren't. He seemed to have them on the rebound.
Yeah,
obviously Saban did well with his players.
Yeah,
I mean,
he did.
Yeah,
he did. And
but he's also done well on his own. So
yeah, he has.
Probably was a good move.
We've seen other coaches do that too. Do well with other players. And but
Larry
regardless, they still have to coach them. They still have to keep the rudder in place. They still have to keep that sail full of wind. And they may not be his or his players, but he still is responsible for getting them in positions to succeed and not fail and screw everything up. It's just as easy to screw stuff up as it is to keep the rudder steady. So I don't hold much. I bristle at those who say when the Heat had LeBron and they had Dwayne and all those egos and it can't be that hard to coach them. Well, it is hard to coach them. It's hard to keep those egos in check. It's hard to make them play as a team and not be a hog. I mean, there's on and on and on and on. It's not an easy thing. So, but circling back, I thought McDaniel looked great on the sideline. I agree with you. I love the way he handles himself. Now let's see if the team can perform. And they are. Listen, I'm not sure. I don't like or dislike Tua. He seems like the nicest young man that you could ever possibly meet, right? And I don't know if he's going to make it or not. But I will say this, in his defense, I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback here under a microscope as much as Tua is. I mean, they made a big deal because yesterday he had a bad practice.
He had a bad day yesterday. He's been lining up the top 5 defense every day. They don't talk about it. He has a bad day, which he should versus that defense. And that was national news. I'm like, you people are like waiting for this kid. Like, I don't understand it at all. It's weird to me.
Yeah, you have to go Iverson on that and just say, hey, it's practice. I don't know. Every clip I see of Tua, he looks great. And I'm hoping that turns out to be the case. I'm kind of rooting for this McDaniel guy. It's not necessarily, because of the fact that the Dolphins have been so down for so long. I would say that all quarterbacks, though, for the most part, have been under immense scrutiny here. Ryan Tannehill didn't face a day where there wasn't, almost it seemed like an equal proportion of people that were denouncing him, on public airwaves or whatever, or in stories. I mean, even when he started playing well, everybody had their doubts, and they couldn't wait to get rid of the guy. He played under immense pressure, and almost everybody. Jay Fiedler when he came here, my God, I mean, following in the footsteps of the great one. Almost impossible circumstances. I don't know. I would tend to agree with Lubie, which I rarely do on this, and that is that I don't know that it's fair to judge. I mean, so far the signs aren't overwhelmingly positive that this guy's going to be great, but I don't know that you can judge him fairly. It's almost as if he was playing for the Jets for a couple of years, and you have to wait and see. All right, now he has his platform. I think everybody's in agreement on that this guy finally has his stage where if he looks good this year, if things stay in place as they look right now, he has the best chance possibly to succeed that he's had, period.
I agree with you. And here's my addition to that. I hope he succeeds. Is he the guy that's going to take you to the Super Bowl? I don't know that. I can't say. I don't know.
It's hard to say, yeah.
But is he going to be the guy that may get us 8 or 9 or 10 wins? I think that's possible, and is
But
he,
when you consider 8 wins a failure,
no,
at
eight's
this
failure.
point.
They gotta get
Yeah.
11.
Yeah, it's got to
They'd
be
be
at least 10.
sub 500.
It's 10 or
Yeah.
11.
Coming off a year where they won 9 games and went through all of this transition, including supposed serious upgrades. Obviously one at wide receiver and along the offensive line.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it's going to be. I am so excited about this season. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to both. I can't remember when I anticipated the excitement of the NFL season as I'm this year. I mean, with all the different moves, seeing Russell Wilson in Denver, and seeing if Matt Stafford can recover and take the Rams again, and how Josh Allen's going to do, and how obviously how Tua is going to do, and to see what the Patriots do, see if Belichick can kind of resurrect this team, or maybe not.
I'm hoping not on that. I'm kind of tired of the Patriots beating the snot out of the Dolphins every game.
I am curious to see. Okay, so we let's debate this. I know Ed's coming on in a minute, but here's what I'm going to throw out. If Belichick has another kind of so-so year, right? And Brady has a really good year. Do the Patriot fans start getting restless about Belichick?
No,
I don't think so. Nah.
No, it's not the Red Sox.
They're too sharp there in Beantown. They're a little more loyal. Yeah.
The Patriots are the 4th team there. The Patriots literally were in the middle of winning, and they'll be talking Red Sox baseball. They're the 4th, literally the 4th team in that town. They won so much that made them relevant, but Belichick's won enough there, and again, they're the 4th team. Well,
you would think. You would think. I'm just curious to see
now
if they're going to be fickle or not.
And then they bring back because their roster sucks. Like their roster's abysmal. And that's a lot to do with Belichick. He likes having this low rent garbage, and he got away with it with Brady and Gronkowski. He's not getting away with it anymore. Going into next year, he's going to have to do something, and that I'll give you. But no,
we'll see.
I mean, this offseason,
we'll see. We'll see
what
how.
happens.
We'll see.
Here's a guy who never has
never
to apologize for anything that happens at Texas Roadhouse restaurants, and the handsome one himself. And it's always a pleasure to welcome to the show from Texas Roadhouse, Ed Garcia. Ed, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
Good morning.
Doing great, and I'm in your home state here, Mr. Garcia, in Michigan,
Go blue, baby.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of Michigan people around. Holy moly! UM is all. It's remarkable how much more UM I see than Michigan State. It really is. It's really remarkable. But I have to tell you, and Jeff and Lubie, and now because we're involved with this amazing organization. There are so many Texas Roadhouse in Michigan, and you drive by them, and they are. It doesn't matter what time of day it is or night it is, Ed. People are outside around the restaurant again. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about going maybe 1 or 2 nights before the wedding hits, and my brother-in-laws were here the other night and just boasting about how much they love Texas Roadhouse, and then debating amongst themselves. Like, well, I like the one in Chesterfield, or I like the one on Gratiot, or I like the one here, or I like the one there. No, the chef is better on that one. As they're all. That's incredible, the arguments they have. But tell us what's up with Texas Roadhouse. I know you got a lot of different things going on, and we're coming into football season, and I know
17 days.
Texas, right? How many days
for college? 17 days till the Maize and Blue kickoff.
And who do the Maize and Blue kick off against?
Colorado.
Oh, not too bad a game. Okay,
it's not a great game.
It's not a cupcake game, but it's a game they should win. So tell us about.
I was gonna say, if you're still there, I got 2 tickets for you.
Oh, that would be Wow.
That would
be, yeah.
Are you wearing khaki pants today, Ed? In honor of the football season coming up there,
it's
Harbaugh?
Standard, with the Harbaugh, absolutely.
Yeah, but are they Lululemons?
No, I haven't gone that far yet.
So, listen, I want to talk about what Texas Roadhouse can provide folks as we get ready for the football season, because it really isn't far away. We got a couple weeks before. I think we have 2 weeks before week 0. for college football, and then the pro season starts in early September. So we're only talking a couple weeks away. If you want to go enjoy a game somewhere, Texas Roadhouse is the place to go. And I'm not sure people would realize that because we talk about it as a restaurant. So why don't you weigh in on that a little bit, Ed?
Well, a couple of things. I can assure you we have the coldest beer in town. It comes in a 16-ounce or 22-ounce Duke mug, which makes it absolutely fantastic. I know we've talked about, how we get it so cold, but it makes it taste so delicious all the way to the last drop. With back to school coming as well, our weekends are getting much busier. People are taking the families out and things like that. That's why you're seeing those lines up there, Tony. So just a reminder to use that mobile app. I'll tell you, I know for a fact, I'm in Michigan quite a bit. And, I'll usually put my name about an hour and a half ahead of time just to make sure I can get that time that I want.
Even you?
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I don't like throwing the business card down. So that's not my style, Tony, you're no better than I am. It's well, you're definitely an expert on sports, so better me on that one. But I just love to enjoy that full experience. There's something coming in and grabbing a margarita from the bar, and and building that anticipation, and then you get to really enjoy that dining experience. But the mobile app, really does cut a lot of time. And I'll tell you, our weekends are jamming right now. With school starting up, and I'm seeing that here in Florida and in Michigan. We got Labor Day right around the corner too. So a lot of Roadhouses open up for lunch. That's a little secret. We typically, we don't open for lunch Monday through Thursday. Some of them don't even open on Friday. But, if you're battling some weather or whatever it may be, but that's a great day to come in or even pick up a party pack and, take some food, whether you're going to go out boating that day or you're going to go, hey, play some fall football, whatever it may be, that's a good thing that's coming up.
Yeah, that's spectacular. And the butcher shop continues to thrive. I go on that all the time, and I'm thinking about what my son's coming to Vermont when we leave the wedding, and we're going to go grab a couple of steaks from the butcher shop to make sure we can grill something as we start getting into fall. You can start feeling the weather starting to transition here. So there's nothing like a Texas Roadhouse steak when you can throw it on the grill and you're in your backyard. And we can't match the cold beer that we get at Texas Roadhouse, but we certainly can match, in terms of the steak. But again, one more thing before you go. What do you average per restaurant in terms of TVs for people to watch games? What do you like 15, 20 TVs, something like that?
We actually have at least a minimum of 10, and some are upwards up to 15 and maybe 18. And, nice. Hey, since you're in Michigan, Tony, you should check out, let me know, I can set you up. But our Bubba's 33, our sister concept, I mean, they have 100 plus TVs. Yeah. And for the Florida guys, we have some on the West Coast. I'm actually tomorrow going to go check out Port St. Lucie on the South side. Nice. But it is absolutely fantastic. Burgers, wings, beers, and some of the best pizzas you could ever imagine. We have a very unique dough recipe. We do the same thing as Texas Roadhouse. We make the pizza dough in-house, proof it, whole 9 yards. Wow. It is quite a process, and you can definitely taste the difference.
Well, I'm definitely going to look it up. I don't know. Is there any? Hopefully, there's something near where we are here, just outside of Detroit. We're in Harrison Township.
Yeah, there's one right out that way, and then there's one actually by the airport. If you want to make a visit before you head out.
Right. Great. All right, Ed Garcia, man, you guys are the best. He makes you hungry. What is it? 8:23 in the morning.
And already thinking sweet potatoes. Yeah.
Gosh,
when are we gonna do the old back get together? Let me fire up some ribs for you guys and get some delicious sides and fresh baked bread. Let's make a big party out of it. We can pitch a tent right outside of Lubie's house and get
I had a question though. How big is Texas Roadhouse in Maryland? Are you guys all over Maryland also?
We're growing little by little. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but we definitely have a few out that way.
Because I'm thinking that these women that were on that Little League softball team from Maryland, they had to be chowing down at Texas Roadhouse. They were twice the size of the other girls. Yeah, it was great. So I thought maybe you had something to do with their success. All right, Ed, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for being with us.
If we camp outside of Lubie's house, you better bring a lot of boxes that he can take the food and put them back in his house in the refrigerator. That's all I'm saying.
King of the doggy bag.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Ed Garcia, Texas Roadhouse. What a great! First of all, he is such a gentleman.
He's a great man. Really
guy.
good guy.
and I'm going to check out this Bubba's 33. Offline, we chat a lot, he and I, and he is raving about that, absolutely raving about that concept. So I'm excited if I get an opportunity to take a look at it. I definitely
Sounds good, man. I mean, old school sports bar with pizzas and everything that are freshly made. I mean, an upgrade in food from what you usually find. Although, there are many really, really good sports bars, not just around town, but around the country. But sounds like that. I mean, the amazing thing really is in this economy, how they've kept the costs at what they are. I mean, it really is incredible because they haven't suffered the quality one bit, and they refuse to compromise. And people have this stigma about chain restaurants. I mean, we deal with the gambling gourmet, Mike Mayo, who surprisingly, with his irascible personality, he's not adamantly opposed to chain restaurants because there are many well-run chains. But this, and that's to be respected, this is one of the best-run chain restaurants that you will find anywhere. And then on top of that, the economy aspect is beyond belief, especially with what people are paying for steaks and things of that nature today, right?
I totally agree with you. They it starts out with the culture, and we're finding more and more as we continue to delve into whether it's a company that does business of any kind or a sports franchise or a sports program. It's the culture that separates the winners from the losers. And for them to be able to pivot like they did during the pandemic and create a whole new business model from the app to the farmer's market to the butcher shop and do it with such efficiency and so quickly, really kept them afloat. And they thrived. They just didn't survive. They thrived. So that's pretty special.
Well, leadership comes from the, top. And, it seems like that message, the guy who unfortunately checked out that owned the company couldn't have been any more of a generous human being. And, it's also good when you see that each franchise or each store that's in the chain operates with the same level of pride and enthusiasm.
Yep.
Yeah,
because sometimes you walk into a place and it's representative of 50 other restaurants, but you walk in and the vibe's totally different. That's never the case there at Texas Roadhouse.
No, it isn't. And trust me, if you want to go watch a game somewhere around a lot of people and have a really good time, that would be the place to be. And all joking aside, and Lubie, you and I have had them, and said, Jeff, you may have had one. That is the coldest beer in town.
The beer's
great. And that's my thing too, Tony.
I know. Are you kidding me?
It's got to be ice cold, almost. I mean, on the threshold of being frozen.
What's your beer of choice there, Mr.
It's weird. People think this is pretty gauche, and I take all kinds of crap about it from Mayo, with his sophisticated palate and taste. But I'm a Budweiser drinker. I don't like any aftertaste or anything. I just want this to taste like, almost pure, watery. With a little bit of a buzz to it, but I only drink beer when I've done some kind of exercise.
Now, do you have the regular Budweiser or the Bud
just
Light?
a regular Bud? I don't like light beers. If I'm going to drink a beer, I want the full impact.
Exactly.
And it has enough flavor for me, and I do it after my walk of life. People find that a little strange that you would negate all of the positive momentum that you had just gathered by walking 4 miles in scorching heat every day, and then come home and I guzzle like 2 beers.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. When I got here on Saturday, it was our grandniece's birthday party, our grandnephew's birthday party. So there was, like I said, Rose comes from a huge family. So there were like 50 people at my brother-in-law's place, and he has almost like a farm in about 15, 20 minutes from here. And the beer was either Busch, Budweiser, all the, I said, well, you guys, there's so many great breweries here. They go, not Budweiser or Busch. So they had a Busch Light and a Busch regular.
Light. Wow.
And I went, wait a minute.
That's Busch. That's pretty Busch.
Redundant. So we checked, me and my nephew, I said, let's check this out. So the alcohol content in a Busch Light was 4.1.
Okay.
The alcohol content in a regular Busch was 4.3.
Yeah.
All right.
I go, are you kidding me right now? Isn't like the regular Busch Light,
Well, the light though is a calorie thing, not alcoholic content.
Well, I get that, but the alcoholic content, determines the calorie. So 2/10 of something is not what are we talking about?
It's good enough for me. I mean, I remember the first time I had, I think it was a Colt 45 malt liquor, or there was it was Old English or something like that. Yeah. You know who I had my first Old English beer with, and I got really buzzed. And I was not like a heavy beer drinker, but this is old school. You remember the song "Take a Letter, Maria"?
Yeah.
So I was friends with the guy that wrote and sang that song. A lot of people would consider him a one-hit wonder, but he was a good guy. He kept performing. R.B. Greaves. And I knew him out in California. And one afternoon, actually, I went over to his place, and I think we were smoking a little weed, and I started drinking this Old English, which he was a fan of. And I don't know if it was a black thing or what at the time. I guess, if you saw the commercials, they were always featuring mostly, black people were, at a barbecue drinking Old English. Yeah, but I got really destroyed on a couple of cans of that, Tony. I would have to say, I don't know what the alcohol content was in that, but it had to be like 8+ or something.
When I retired, Roseanne at the time was friends and working with these women from Russia, and she was telling them, they were talking about my retirement, and they said, well, God, we'd like to get them something, So she goes, listen, he's always talking about different beers. So Rose comes home with a 6-pack of this Russian beer, right? In these 16-ounce bottles.
All right.
So the night of my retirement dinner, I didn't drink. I wanted to be, on top of it as best I could without totally breaking down.
Oh, you should have got blasted on your retirement dinner. What are you talking about?
After the dinner, we come home and I bring all the leftovers and I take one of these Russian beers and just down it. And it was so good. So I'm taking another one. I'm like halfway through the other one and I am flying.
Yeah.
Going, what the heck?
That's what happened to me. I don't think it was a weed either.
These Russian beers were 9.2.
9.2.
That's great.
Holy Vladimir Putin.
Exactly.
They were nuclear.
This was great. And they're already down to 16 ounces. So I'm going, wait a minute. You got to back off, brother.
For you.
Yeah, I do remember being somewhat overwhelmed. First time I drank tequila, I got overwhelmed by it also. But I wasn't a heavy drinker in those days for sure. I mean, later after being in this business for a while, you realize it's time to start drinking heavily.
Somebody mentioned to me, somebody who threw out the other day, Boone's Apple Farm. I go,
oh yeah, I got destroyed on that also.
Boone's Farm.
I was an early advocate of Boone's Apple.
Oh my goodness gracious!
You know what we used to do? We used to. I don't know if you were ever involved in this activity, but Syracuse, of course, had the campus was called the Hill, and it was. A place that had a lot of various sort of mountain-like scenes there or whatever. And there was a park where we used to go, and we'd take the lunch trays out of the cafeteria. It was always snowing there. I mean, from like September on. So there was always snow on the ground, and everybody would get a lunch tray, put their ass in a lunch tray, and put your legs around the person in front of you. And we had these trains, and we would go like flying down the mountain there off campus. And that was fueled a lot by Boone's Farm Apple back in the day.
Hey, you know what?
You felt like you were on the boat on Deadliest Catch. I mean, you were just like on the deck there, ready to puke.
I'm sure. I'm surprised you weren't carrying the bottles with you. Maybe some of you were.
Yago Sangria was another early buzz.
Yeah. I have to tell you, just as an aside to that, I have been so fortunate and so blessed in my career to go to. I can't tell you how many college campuses. Syracuse, and then when our daughter was recruited by Syracuse, well, obviously we went on the tour, spent a weekend there.
Yeah,
that is really one of the most beautiful campuses you
can be,
regardless of whether it's fall, spring, summer, or winter.
Even I don't know about wintertime.
It's a beautiful campus. It really is.
You can't see anything in the wintertime, man. It's like blinding snow 24 hours a day. I mean,
for sure.
It's crazy. You'd be better off just signing up and seeing if you could try your luck in the Iditarod than trying to navigate your way around campus.
It's a beautiful site. I mean, when you think of colleges and you think of college campuses, that sort of is the epitome.
The one day of Indian summer they had there was always brilliant.
Yeah.
get out there in the park, shoot some hoops. It was a lot of fun. Sit on a quad there and pretend to be reading a book that made it look like you were educated. It was great. Tony Segreto, more old school with Tony Segreto. You didn't make any comment about this Maryland softball team. I threw that in for you, Tony. Did you see them?
Yeah, I didn't want to.
How big were those girls? Come on, none of those girls were 12, Tony. Is this the next sport that's going to be tainted by scandal?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you flat out. When I was coaching travel softball with my daughter, for my daughter, the teams we played in tournaments, it was awful. Do you know these coaches would fly girls in? From different parts of the country just to play that day.
They were on a Russian weightlifting team yesterday, but they're playing softball in the Little League World Series.
It's just pitiful.
Did you see any of this? I mean, I was watching with you in mind. I stopped on it just because of you, Tony.
I caught just a little bit of it. And I still love the spirit of what it's supposed to be. But some of these coaches, especially in the women's game, some of these guys who are coaching, and I'm going to specifically say, guys, they are so obsessed with the winning part that they will throw a player under the bus to bring another player in that's going to make them win. And I just think that's absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. That's what made me help. That's what made me start, my movement that I had to help legitimize and bring sport back into the sport. I mean, actually, where these girls get to play. You're talking about a girl who's been working her tail off for 3 or 4 years to make it to the starting lineup or make it to one of the top reserves on the softball team, and a coach just demotes her because he's going to bring in somebody else, and everything she worked for is irrelevant. It's not
brings
right.
in Crystal Bustos, in her prime. Not right. No, I thought those girls were pretty large for little leaguers. I've always been, the proponent of the idea that the second most crooked sport in the world is the Little League World Series and Little League Baseball. But and only behind like Tour de France and cycling. In terms of just completely not on a level. I mean, on a par with professional wrestling, but. It surprised me. I'm watching that going, what level of ball is this? It looked like a college team, and it was the Little League Softball World Series, 12 and under. Unbelievable. All right, Tony. Well, you know what? They're out there playing, so that's the good
thing. What? They give them something. Exactly. And you hope that their coaching is good, and you hope that these girls move on, to be successful in their life, and that they've learned something here, and not be exposed to, just some of the bad coaching and the, all these guys, again, men who, think they're just, they have to be disciplined in a certain way, or they have to do this, or they have to scream at them, or they have to, if they lose a game because they didn't play right, bring them back to their home field after practice and make them run. And that to me is just BS.
Think about it. Lubie is a youth coach. All right. With that, we're going to come back with more here on Old School with Tony Segreto. I mean, being subjected to a maniac. I mean, a guy that's bordering on being criminally insane should be wearing never mind a sports jacket, a jacket that ties in the back while he's coaching these kids. All right. Back with more in a moment. Now that. You look good today, though, Tony. I mean, whatever you're doing in this, are you in a hotel? Where are you? At somebody's place? No,
I am currently at my mother-in-law's house.
Oh, nice. All right. It looks good, man. She's set up well for you. It is 8:38. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Tony, tell us about your travels, what it's like to be at the airport there 5 hours before the plane.
When you see the number of people carrying bags, some of which are bigger than they are, hoping to put them in that overhead compartment, and the disdain on their face when they're told they can't, the tears they have in their eyes coming down, streaming, how they have to unpack their bags in front of hundreds of people trying to get on their plane. Oh my, the sadness, the anger, all the emotions are being felt. But nothing better than being at the Detroit Metro Airport, where you can get anything from sushi to the best china and glassware that you can find. But it only happens here in Detroit, the Motor City. Only here will you find the birthplace of the modern automobile.
Defo and Lubie love kicking it old school with the legendary Tony Segreto. Big thanks to Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
All right, welcome back to the show. Always great on these Wednesdays. Tony Segreto, wherever he is originating from, with us today. It's Michigan. I've only been to Detroit, I would say, passing through a couple of times, Tony Segreto. I do remember one time, though, very distinctly. And I was actually making my way with a friend of mine named Jeff Frost, and we had decided to sell all of our stuff and throw what we had left into my Chevy Vega, and we were going to go to California to seek our future and our fortune. And so we decided that we would stop and visit people that we knew along the way, so we'd have a free place to stay.
Right.
So somehow our route took us in the vicinity of Detroit, Michigan, which we were basically trying to drive through at like a late hour. I mean, I would say, early morning, like 1, 2 in the morning. We're driving through Detroit. And we make a wrong turn, and of course, we end up in a neighborhood that looked to be less than favorable to two white guys that were driving around at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so anyway, I'm at a light. I'm at a red light. This is true. And I'm stopped, okay? So all of a sudden, the car is moving. And my friend, Jeff, he says, DeForest, I mean, it's a red light. I said, well, I'm on the brake. And it turned out our car had been surrounded, and there were actually like a bunch of guys that had picked it up, and they were moving it.
With you in it? Oh, no.
Oh my!
I thought,
God.
man, I mean, I hate to put this, in any other terms other than the, finest of French, but we were fucked. But we got out of that somehow. I don't know how,
Yeah. I tell you
somehow
what,
we survived it. But it was rough. I mean, a rough neighborhood for sure.
I will tell you this: that one of the things that's starkingly noticeable when you're in Michigan is that you will rarely, they're here, but you will rarely see a Toyota or a Hyundai. It is.
Oh, really?
This is
all American.
Chevy, sure. Ford, Chrysler, Buick, Dodge. I mean, it is America. This is,
so you didn't come in there and rent like a foreign car.
Yeah, this is the automotive. You know what? I rented a car and I picked
Somebody
it up.
put a sledgehammer through the window. What are you talking about?
Listen, it's a Chrysler 300. It's like,
wow,
I'm sporting around. But Here's the thing. It is, you got.
What you get, like 4 miles to a gallon?
Henry Ford, Henry Ford Museum. Obviously, this is where, Ford laid his stake. And and it is unbelievable, and it is it's stark. It's a stark reality. It's like, wow, you don't even realize it until you're here like a couple of days. You go, I haven't seen a Toyota around, or I haven't seen a Mercedes, and dude, Tesla. Are you kidding me? This is just hardcore American made, and I love it. I love seeing it. It's really cool. It is absolutely. And then you decide, okay, are there more Fords or more? It's definitely a Ford dominated state. I mean, big time Ford dominated state.
It's kind of interesting though. What you said earlier, still strikes me. Where you were talking about how they love all their sports teams, and I'm thinking, okay, the Lions, they have perennially sucked.
Awful.
The Pistons, they have perennially sucked. The Tigers, for a long time, I mean, they've had a couple of moments here and there, but for the most part,
Red Wings,
they've largely sucked. And the Red Wings, who were brilliant for a while there and dominant in hockey, haven't been good in a long, long time. I mean, holy Mike Babcock, they've dropped off the face of the earth.
The Pistons had 2 era of dominance.
But this was years ago, Tony.
Yeah.
You're talking bad boy Pistons. They're like 30 years ago.
Yeah, no, not 30. I mean, the 2000s, they were great. They went to like 6 or 7 straight Eastern Conference Championship series. But then now they've sucked for the last 12 years.
But still, I mean, regardless of that, they keep getting top picks and they never turn into anything. It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. But regardless of that, they're amazing players that have participated, whether it's for the Tigers or the Lions or the Pistons. I mean, think about the players that the Tigers have had over the years, the Hall of Famers from Al Kaline. Come on, think about those.
We mentioned one earlier, Gates Brown.
Yeah,
how
Gates
Serena
Brown
looked yesterday. She looked like Gates Brown. I don't know if you remember that guy.
Yeah, I do remember Norm Cash
physically. Yeah.
And then you go with the Lions. All you have to do is say Barry Sanders around here, and they'll genuflect. It's incredible.
I had an Al Kaline autograph, and I always loved it because he just signed it with a K and then drew a line.
Yeah.
And I remember hanging out outside, the visiting players' entrance at Yankee Stadium, and I think he signed the top of a Cracker Jack box, and I thought, wow, how cool is that? Al Kaline. But they were decent guys. But that's centuries ago. We're talking Nellie Fox here. I mean, with a big shot of tobacco and that giant bat handle. But what's surprising, I mean, that would never fly here, Tony, in South Florida, where teams could be perennially bad, and we've had plenty of them. But that would be met with the kind of fan indifference that we see here today, where most of the people that come to games are coming because of the other team.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. We were here about 4 years ago for an Ultimate Software event, and as you know, Joey and I always travel together. So,
and was Joey with you on this trip too? He's going to the wedding?
No. So now I go, listen, we're going to be getting to Detroit early. The Tigers are in town. They're playing an afternoon game. It was like a Wednesday, right? And they were playing Montreal, I believe. Montreal or Toronto. It was Montreal. So I call the GM was my intern. So I call him up and I go, hey, can you get a couple tickets for
Tony
us?
connected everywhere. I love this.
I said,
GM was your
former intern. So
who can I call?
And his daughter actually played softball on the softball team with my daughter. So anyway, we get like 4 tickets, and we're walking to the new Tiger Stadium, and Joey goes, well, how long are we going to stay? I said, 9 innings. He goes, what do you mean 9 innings? I go, we go to a game. We get there early enough to see the beginning of the game, and we stay until the last out or the last second ticks off.
Like my mom.
Get out of here.
He goes,
you're like my friend, Mr. Mitt.
He goes, he goes, really? I go, yeah. He goes, he says, I've never stayed a whole 9 innings. He goes,
do I probably figured the game was over once one team got to 7.
Yeah. I go, no, you have to stay, man. Come on. Like man up. We're staying 9 innings.
Wow,
we have nothing else we're doing this afternoon. So we walk. First of all, this stadium here in Detroit, the baseball stadium, is spectacular.
Is it still Comerica?
Yeah. I like that you're dragging a reluctant Joey to a baseball game.
So we get there. The place on a Wednesday afternoon against Montreal, it's not just sold out. There are people on the berm in the outfield beyond the fence that are watching the game. So we get there, and our seats are like 3rd row behind home plate.
Sweet.
And Joey goes, wow, this is pretty cool.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. Well,
And
he
then,
knew you had
then
pull,
he,
though.
and then he sees the concessions.
Yeah.
Right. Pulled pork, sausage and peppers. I mean, you name it, they have it. Anyway, we stay the 9 innings. Great game, exciting. I mean, no one left. And he walked out and he goes, if you would have told me I was going to stay in the game for 9 innings, I would have told you were absolutely out of your damn mind. He goes, but this was awesome. And the stadium is so well laid out. It's so cool. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. I mean, we were fortunate to have such great seats, but you could be sitting in the bleachers and still feel like you're close enough to the field. I mean, they did a beautiful job at that stadium. Amazing job. So
we have a beautiful stadium. Nobody goes. I mean, like
I know,
nobody.
but this was imagine we're only talking 4 years ago. They still weren't very good, and this was a Wednesday afternoon in July where it's packed. Okay, I mean, being full is one thing, but having no seats at all, people outside trying to scalp tickets to get in, it's
very
it's
unusual.
Incredible. Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, and Joey, his name came up the other day in conversation. We were talking about sports and, the history of sports in South Florida a little bit. Everybody started getting into a highlight, and it was generally acknowledged, wow, this guy was the greatest of all time. Yeah. Joey Kornblit, unbelievable. And, you know him just as, like a regular guy. It's fantastic.
We're brothers. All right, we really are brothers. We talk all the time, and we know.
Good guy, man, all the way through.
Yeah,
he's just like you.
Wonderful man.
Catholic Health Services, Tony, outstanding organization. Can't say enough good things about them. We've said many things, and people say, oh, yeah, well, it's a paid endorsement, whatever. But truth is, I couldn't have been any more thankful, and I will go to my grave feeling this way, any more thankful that we got turned on to Catholic Health Services with regard to the care of my mother as she was experiencing her final days here on the planet. Wow. I mean, a night and day difference from what we were going through, which, as you said, with regards to your wife and her mother, I mean, the healthcare business has just gone to shreds. And yet Catholic Health Services stands out as just a pillar of integrity, of just excellence at what they do, including the physical rehabilitation that they're capable of doing. And then, of course, easing the mental burden of dealing with situations like this.
And they do it every day. They just don't do it. It's not just a one-off. And if people hear you, Jeff, they go, "Oh yeah, because you're Jeff DeForest, and you guys, are going to be treated special." No. Everybody is treated special. Everybody is treated like Jeff DeForest and his mother. Everybody is treated with that special one-on-one care that gives you the sense that you're the only ones they're concerned with, when in fact they may have 50 or other 75 patients in the rehab facility. They do, we talked about Texas Roadhouse, why they were successful. We talk about culture. You talk about a culture. There's a certain type of person that is brought in and hired by Catholic Health Services. They're just not good at what they do. Their expertise isn't just off the chart. Their knowledge of what they need to do isn't just great. It's the total package. It's their humble caring that each person has for the patients that they're taking care of, whether it's the doctor, the therapist, the nurse, the people cleaning the hospital, the people serving them their food. They will go up to you and go, if this food isn't good, we'll make sure you get something you want, even if we have to go out and get it. They are a special group of people that do it every single solitary day, and their expertise is beyond what you can imagine. And most importantly, what you experience and what we want to experience is to be able to find a facility that's going to be communicative to you, that you can reach them. You can ask them how my loved one is doing, and they're going to answer you and get back to you. And if they don't reach you, they'll call you again. It's not like, what my wife has been through. Goodness me, I God bless her. She'll call a doctor. I think I told you, she'll call a doctor. The doctor will call back. She'll be away from her phone. She'll call the doctor back, and the doctor won't call her again for another 2 weeks. That's unconscionable to me. And that will never, ever, trust me, happen at Catholic Health Services, period. Done. They're an amazing group.
My brother was, it's funny, in a way. I mean, obviously the circumstances were grave, seriously so, but my brother was writing a scathing email on a daily basis to the people at this hospital where they were supposedly taking care of my mother. And then the other frustrating thing is you'll finally get through to somebody, and then when you do, you'll talk to some doctor, and he says, "Oh, I'm not on that case anymore."
Exactly.
You're like, "What?
Exactly.
Well, when did this happen? I don't know."
Or I'll have to
Yeah.
check, and I promise I'll get back to you. Well, I don't even know if
man.
they check, but they don't get back to you.
You're
So,
afraid to call because they get irritated when you ask a question, and it's you don't want them having that being reflected on the care that is being given
Yeah.
to the patient. So, what a difference! I mean, Catholic Health Services just as efficient and professional as any organization you will ever find, and that is what you need in these circumstances where it's a situation like hospice care as mine was, or just you come out of knee surgery, or unfortunately maybe suffer a stroke, right? Who
And
couldn't
it's,
pass out from heat exhaustion out there
you know what?
these days?
It's you talk about asking questions to the doctors and nurses, and it's almost like a coach sometimes. When you're asking because you're scared, you're anxious. If you're a family member, right? You're concerned. You have this anxiety, whether it's the situation you were in or just something simple, because you just never know anymore. And when you ask a question, it's not because you're stupid. It's not you just want to know. Sometimes you want something that's just going to make you feel okay.
Yeah.
That everything is going to be, and regardless of whether and if it's not going to be okay. How it's spoken to you and how it's told to you is paramount. And when you go to Catholic Health Services, they understand that. They care as much for the family as they do for the patient, because they know when the patient comes in, whatever they're going through, it impacts the entire family. And how that family is spoken to and alerted and told about what needs to be done, and how they're coached to make sure that they do what they can do to their loved ones, is really pretty special.
All right, Las Vegas Raiders in town this week. The Raiders are favored. They played a couple of preseason games. We were talking about this the other day with a couple of our football analysts that we have on the show, and it is true that it used to have some sort of clear-cut definition to what these preseason games were going to look like.
Yep.
In terms of and as I recall, game one the starters are playing like maybe 6 snaps or so. Game two they play into the second quarter possibly. Game three they game planned for, and they made a big deal out of it, like it was a dress rehearsal, and you'd see starters going into the third quarter and maybe even further. And then game four was blow off. Let's take a look and see who's going to make the roster at the bottom end, and hope that nobody gets hurt. It's not that way anymore. I mean, no. I don't know what do you expect to see? What do you think the game plan would be? The Raiders are playing their third preseason game. They've won them both so far, and been impressive scoring wise. But I don't even know if they've. I'm not sure Derek Carr or any of their key guys have sniffed the field. Devontae Adams, I don't know. Has he been out there yet in a Raider uniform? Not sure.
Yeah, I think he was actually in the Hall of Fame game for a little bit, I believe.
Adams was, yeah. Wow.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. You're absolutely right. Yeah. No, he was not.
Because, the Hall of Fame game would really be a discard, but they did win that. But what do you, do you have any idea what we're going to see in terms of, the approach by the Miami Dolphins?
I would hope that we would see what – I'm not saying we have to Mark 7 this, but you would like to see, at least for one series, what might be our starting lineup, what might be our top 11. I would love to see, even if it's for one drive, just to see them out there together.
Yeah.
And possibly 2 drives. And this is where, again, we go back to, we don't want to get these guys hurt preseason. After all this effort to put these great parts and these different components around Tua, we don't want to see them start going down. But at the same time, it's important that we see them together to see what they would look like. Exactly. And again, I know we want to keep everything vanilla, but my hope would be that we get to see a few things here and there about what we can expect. We need to whet the appetite of the fan. Yep. We need to alert the NFL that, hey, we have something here without giving the farm away. Okay, so there's a way we can do that, and I'm hoping, especially to keep the fans excited. And I know we're going to keep everybody protected, and then we're listening to the rhetoric that it's going to be great, it's going to be great, and it's going to be great, and it may be, but at the same time, I think for the player standpoint, let's see them in the dress rehearsal, get out on the field in front of fans, under the lights. Hey, let's get a series or 2 under our belts and see what happens. That's what I would hope. And on another note, I think the Raiders are going to be damn good. I think they're going to be a good football team. I really do.
That's a dynamite division there, the AFC West.
Yeah.
Just
Your dog's having a good time, Jeff.
Somebody came to the door here, so she got all excited. She doesn't really care,
But don't you hope that we get to see our starters for a couple of series?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I hope for anymore in these circumstances. I mean, you'd like to know that things are going in a positive direction. You keep hearing about this from reports at practice. We know not to put too much faith in that. But with the 3 games and the last one being a complete blow-off, I'm not sure, what approach, I would recommend for this game. I would like to see them drop them all together because
I do too.
It's just kind of silly to, stretch your brain out and stress yourself over, whether a guy's going to get hurt in a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, my simple proposal is that when we were practicing against Tampa Bay last week, practice against Tampa Bay and then have the scrimmage be your game and bring in officials and off you go and that's it. And, you get ready to kick off the season. I think that, and people will go, what about college? Well, yeah, some colleges open up against cupcakes, which is kind of a scrimmage, but it still gives them the opportunity. All their starters are out there. They're playing because the season counts, right? Yeah. So there has to be a way we can work on this so that teams with these investments they make and the excitement that the fans have to get a stud, out for the year already. In many cases, we've had a number of
lot of starters are already gone.
Yeah, I mean that's awful. That is absolutely.
It happens all the time. I mean, every year that you're always saying, "Hey, what the hell? This poor guy is out for the season. Didn't even get out of the preseason." And it could happen in week number 1 also. But it does seem like every year you say, "Wow, there's an inordinate number of injuries."
Right.
To key players, and fortunately, the Dolphins had a guy, one of their safeties, that went down for the season that they thought there was going to be a part of their rotation in the secondary. All right, Tony, always a pleasure, man. Good luck to the happy couple. I mean,
thank you. It's
give them
our
regards. Yeah,
it's going to be fun. It's going to be an good old fashioned Italian wedding. So
nice.
The music will be playing. There'll be somebody, I'm sure, with an accordion, not mine, but someone with an accordion playing some good Italian music. So. It's a blessing, and I've been very fortunate to marry into a family like this. So it's been
big Italian family. Awesome. All right, outstanding. Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen, always a pleasure, my friend.
Great, always I loved it today, guys. Thank you so much.
You're a great American. Tony Segreto, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants and Catholic Health Services. All right, that's going to do it for us, Lubie. Tomorrow. I believe Gurgles will be on board with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. I think that's going to be the full-blown edition. That we'll have for you tomorrow, so you don't have any of my lame questions about Vito Anafirmo dominating the fanfare and the brain-busting part of the program, where you really have to dig deep into the archives of your mind to come up with some of these answers. And or you're thinking, what a ridiculous question that was, Defo.
Pretty much.
Your obsession with some obscure Italian boxer.
Vito Anafirmo. You did like 2.
2 Vito questions out of 2 sets, probably
That's
pretty
amazing.
weak. All right, so we'll have that for you tomorrow. And then Degenerate Friday is getting more and more ripe with participants and information. So you can look forward to that. That'll feature the professor, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. The Greek has been on there making predictions. Mark Lawrence will be returning soon. And it should be a lot of fun, and we'll try and work in a little Len Robbins during the course of the season. So a lot to look forward to on our Degenerate Friday show. And then I'm banking on this, Lubie. I'm not sure; it hasn't been confirmed yet. The return of John Kajemi on the Monday shows.
Monday, a week from Monday.
Oh, a week from Monday. Okay,
or it might be Monday. It might be this. It might be this Monday. I'll.
Okay, it was a week from Monday last Monday.
Yeah, it was supposed to be this Monday, and then he couldn't do it, so maybe next Monday. I'll reach out to him.
Let's hope so, man. I saw him in the background traipsing around in Tampa there. I'm looking going, that's our guy. That's Kajemi. So, hopefully we'll have little Dateline Dolphins going every Monday here on the program. And, of course, we expand the conversation once the Dolphins become irrelevant to the rest of the National Football League. We try to include a little of everything on that because John is well-versed, and he's also our golf commentator, which is kind of cool also. All right, we will see you guys tomorrow at 7 in the a.m., and it's been a pleasure being with you. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge goes tomorrow. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:04.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.